Witchy Wolves of Omer Plains, unveiling a haunting tale. In the folklore annals of Omer, Michigan, nestled just 5 miles from the serene shores of Lake Huron, lies a chilling legend that has woven itself into the fabric of local history for over a century. The story of the Witchy Wolves of Omer Plains is steeped in mystery and has intrigued generations, blending elements of Native American lore, historical events, and eerie encounters that continue to captivate the imagination. The saga begins amidst the tumultuous backdrop of the American Civil War, where tragedy struck the Keeney family of Omer Plains. Their son, Corwin, met his demise in the brutal confines of Andersonville, a Confederate prisoner of war camp infamous for its horrors. Upon his return home, 30 years after his death, a strange and unsettling event unfolded that would sow the seeds of a chilling local myth. In the spring of 1896, residents of Omer Plains discovered that Corwin Keeney's grave had been disturbed, transformed into a den for a she-wolf and her young. This startling revelation sparked fear and speculation among the townsfolk, who attributed the intrusion to a supernatural force, what they called a witchy wolf. Local lore suggested that the curse of scorbutus, a term echoing the soldier's affliction in life, had somehow infused Corwin's remains with the spirit of a protective, albeit vengeful guardian. The legend took on a life of its own, evolving through the decades with reports of sightings and encounters. From the eerie howls echoing through the Omer Plains to purported attacks on unsuspecting travelers, each tale added layers to the mystery of these spectral creatures. Stories passed down through generations spoke of moonlit dances and whispers of ghostly apparitions roaming the cemetery grounds where Corwin lay. The mythos grew beyond mere folklore. In 1925, a tragic incident known as the Lover's Lane Massacre unfolded, where 2 young boys were allegedly torn apart by what eyewitnesses described as wild, dog-like creatures. The incident left a scar on the community, further entwining the local landscape with the haunting presence of the witchy wolves. As the decades passed, sightings persisted, recounted by locals and visitors alike. Each encounter added fuel to the legend, perpetuating a narrative that transcended time and geography. Whether glimpsed in the shadows of moonlit nights or whispered about in hushed tones, the witchy wolves of Omer Plains became a fixture in the collective consciousness of the region. Modern-day perspectives offer a blend of skepticism and belief, with accounts from individuals like David Kulsick and Lindsay Russell providing contemporary insights into the enduring legacy of the witchy wolves. Their stories, shared through publications and local folklore, underscore the lasting impact of these spectral guardians on the community's identity and imagination. In conclusion, the tale of the Witchy Wolves of Omer Plains serves as a poignant reminder of the power of myth and the enduring allure of the unknown. As visitors explore the quiet streets and historic sites of Omer, Michigan, they may find themselves drawn to the shadowy corners of local lore, where the line between reality and legend blurs, and the haunting howls of the witchy wolves echo through the ages. Investigators come to the plains. 2 teams of Michigan paranormal investigators, the Eerie Temperance Entertainment (ETE) Group and Michigan Paranormal Encounters (MPE) organization, were counting on that last statement when they arranged a joint expedition to Omer's Plains Cemetery in mid-March 2009. According to a story in the Aroostook County Independent posted on March 23rd of that year, the teams did not leave disappointed. The team members heard footsteps and a recurrent pulsing sound in the woods around them, said ETE member John McConnell in the article. He added, "It was crazy. I've never heard anything like it." The teams also interviewed area residents who described odd phenomena that seemed unrelated to the phantom wolf legend. One woman said her daughter was driving through the Plains area one night and rounded a bend in the road to see what looked like an elderly gentleman seated in a rocking chair with no one else around. Another resident said his father knew people who claimed to have seen teams of white horses galloping through the plains on dark nights. The Independent received an email from a man who had witnessed glowing white orbs floating through the area. The Independent article noted, "He says these balls of light were always suspected to be phosphorus reactions, but he also said that, strangely enough, when people would try to walk away from the lights would follow them, but when people would walk towards the lights would retreat." The paranormal team said some of their members also saw balls of light during their nighttime vigils in the plains. So did an independent reader who also had an old man sighting, and who sent a comment to the paper after the story appeared. My cousin and a friend both described seeing an old man who looked dead, dressed in all white and had a sort of glow around him on 2 separate occasions. My cousin was the first to tell me about him. Then a couple weeks later, my friend told me he had seen him after he got his car stuck in a mud hole on a 2-track in the plains. My friend had no idea that my cousin just weeks before had described seeing an old man fitting the same description as the one he told me about. I have also witnessed the lights that were described here as well, but that will have to wait for another time. Another area man, however, speculated that the many pine trees around Omer howled whenever the wind blew through them, and that the entire legend of the Witchy Wolves grew around tall tales invented to claim a supernatural origin for a wholly natural sound. Could it really be so simple? If the legend of spirit wolf guardians originated from the sound of the wind playing through dense pines, it would certainly explain why people heard screams but saw no creatures. But then, what about the soldier with scorbutus, the she-wolf denning in his grave, the young teens supposedly ripped to pieces, the many names of actual people discussed in the old articles possessed by the Historical Society? There are also the many area residents reporting other anomalous phenomena in the plains area, such as balls of light or the old man sitting alone by the road. We mustn't forget the old Chippewa tradition of wolf guardians either. Conjured witch wolves appear in the beliefs of other Native American tribes around the country. In her book, Wolf Nation, Brenda Peterson quoted a Cherokee friend who worked for the Smithsonian Institute. Navajos believe there are real wolves who are good and part of nature, but then there are also witches who disguise themselves as wolves. You never know who you're dealing with.